Zoe Reynard knocks on the door of Dr. Marcella Spencer, a therapist. Zoe says she got her name through a friend because she said the doctor is discreet. Before the session begins, Marcella tells her that everything they discuss will be confidential. Marcella's first question is what brought Zoe there. Zoe says that it all started when she realized that all the good things in her life could never fill this void that's always been there. We get a flashback of 6 months earlier in Zoe's house. She says she has the perfect life, wonderful home, an amazing family and a fabulous job. But while she was working, her assistant introduced her to a new client named Quentin Canosa, who's an artist. Zoe was already thinking about introducing him to a whole new world of revenue because she saw so much potential in him. And at an art gallery, Zoe meets Quentin Canosa himself and they instantly seem to get along, but he notices she's married. Zoe wants to use the opportunity to talk about business since her company represents contemporary artists. She tells him that they would license his work to the highest bidder. It could be a classy advertising campaign or serve as inspiration for a clothing line. Quentin says he's interested and decides to arrange a meeting for Monday morning at his studio. Back in the therapist room, Zoe comments on how meeting Quentin made her realize she was missing the excitement of life. Marcella asks her if she acted on that feeling. Zoe explains that she tried to spice things up in her relationship with Jason, her husband. But it wasn't working. She says that even though she was seeing the love of her life take their beautiful children to school and she could think about what she was still missing. Zoe felt that she loved him so much, but still it wasn't enough. Marcella asks her if she felt this way in other relationships before she got married. To which Zoe replies she wouldn't know because she didn't have any prior getting married. The therapist points out that maybe the kids have something to do with her love life not being so good. But Zoe says they sometimes have sex 2 or 3 times a day, but she's still not satisfied. And instead of trying to find a way to make things work with Jason, Zoe took her first step down a terrible path. Zoe visits Quentin at his studio, which is also where he lives. Quentin offers her coffee and asks if she has a document for him to review. Zoe tells him that he can check it out with his lawyer and do all the research about her company. Quentin answers he has done all the needed research, so he pretty much signs the document on the spot. Zoe can't believe his new client is him. And right before Zoe was going to leave, Quentin stops her to confess she's not the only person who has offered to do a commercial art arrangement with him. Apparently Quentin has turned down so many people before, so he asks Zoe if she wants to know why he chose her. Quentin says that it's because he wants to ask for something in return. He wants to paint her and put the painting over his bed, and Zoe ends up giving up on the temptation. The next day Zoe is at work and she's having a hard time focusing on her duties. Then Zoe rushes home and starts to fantasize of being with Quentin, but she's brought back to reality when her kid arrives home. He suspects something is weird since she never arrives so early, but she covers it up by saying she was feeling bad. At work, her assistant hands her a reservation for a really fancy restaurant so that Zoe can meet up with Balthazar. But Zoe puts this reservation inside a folder which she slides under his door at his house, because he wasn't there. Here we see that a woman who lives there tells her to be careful with Quentin. On her way out, Zoe finds Quentin and tells him that she can't keep doing any of that. But Quentin tries to stop her from leaving and tells her he wants to show her something special. After that she can go home if she wants to. Quentin puts a band over her eyes and drives her to a place full of graffiti he made. Zoe takes particular interests in a painting of a beautiful family. Quentin says that's the family he would have loved to have when he was a kid since he had it rough. However, after a while she remembers that she was supposed to meet with Balthazar. Since she arrived so late, Zoe used the excuse that his kid was feeling sick and she lost track of time. Balthazar was very understanding and gave her another chance to reschedule the meeting. Marcella asks Zoe how long she has been meeting Quentin. Zoe replies that it's been months and they meet up every day if she's able. The therapy ends here. Zoe tells her doctor that it's also difficult for her to come to therapy since she's hiding that from her family. Then we get to see the painting session Quentin did for Zoe. But there she also found a bunch of paintings Quentin made of many women. Zoe asks Quentin for an explanation as to who they are. Quentin simply says that they're women he used to know and asks if she's jealous. Zoe denies this and wonders what she is actually doing there. She now feels like she's just another woman he lured in. Quentin says she belongs there with him and that nobody has made him feel the way she has. Zoe goes home, but her boy is not happy to see her because she missed the game she had promised to attend. Then her little girl notices she has blue paint on her hair. And Zoe's mom, who's seeing everything, is starting to notice something wrong might be going on with her daughter. Back in therapy, Marcella tells Zoe what she's going through is an addiction because sex can be a drug too. Now Zoe wants to know what's the plan to fix her situation. Marcella thinks Zoe should suggest to Jason going to couples counseling. That way Jason will know there's a real problem in their marriage. Zoe is willing to try this. But Quentin is not making the decision any easy. He's messaging Zoe to remind her that he's thinking of her. And when she put the phone down, Jason came in and noticed it was a new phone, so naturally he asked her about it. Zoe lies by saying that an investor she knows gave them out in her company. And then Zoe tells Jason that maybe they should talk to a professional. Jason is surprised and very confused by this. He doesn't deem it necessary to spend money on that. And he feels that since they always talk about everything, it wouldn't be good to bring a stranger into their relationship. So Jason's solution for this is to instead take Zoe to a French place they know on Saturday and have a romantic escapade. But Zoe has something else on her mind and goes to Quentin's place. Quentin tells her that if things aren't going well, she can leave her husband and be with him. But Zoe says she can't do that because Jason is the love of her life. To try to forget about Quentin, she goes to a club where she meets a man named Corey. Then she starts to fantasize about him even while at her workplace. Her assistant interrupts her to tell her that the company has not gotten good numbers this month. Later Zoe visits Quentin and finds her having sex with a woman she saw the other day in his house. Quentin wants to talk it over with her, but Zoe is too mad at him. So she ends up going to Corey's home to be intimate. When she gets back is late, but Jason is waiting for her. Zoe is trying to tell him that they should try new things. Jason found a pack of condoms in her wife's purse. Zoe tried to make it seem as if she is now going to use them with Jason because she didn't take the pill. When Zoe returns to work, everyone is making faces at her. Her assistant tells her that they're losing clients and she's so pissed up, because everyone is working super hard to keep a business afloat when the owner doesn't even care. Zoe visits Quentin, but then Jason appears to look at his artwork. However, Jason didn't see the painting Quentin made of his wife. When she arrives home, Zoe sees that Corey was just leaving. He left a package with Zoe's mother. When Zoe opens, she sees that it was panties. Instead, she later visits Quentin to tell him that she can't see him anymore. And the Corey arrives. Quentin is very confused, but Corey explains he received a message with that address from Zoe. So Zoe uses the opportunity to explain to both of them that she doesn't want to keep cheating and that she's actually not alright. Corey is angry at this and wants to get violent, but Quentin steps in to protect Zoe. But Quentin hits Corey really bad and now he changes his personality. Zoe is scared, so she throws some glass at the floor, causing Quentin to get cuts on his feet. Zoe runs around the house trying to escape. Quentin decides to break his paintings, but when he comes across the one he made of her, he says that he wants to make sure that her last thoughts are of him. However, right when Quentin was going to hit Zoe, Jason appears from behind and using the art piece Quentin gifted him, Jason hit him really hard. Then Jason throws Zoe's phone and tells her that she left it on the kitchen table. That's how he found out. Zoe goes after Jason. He's really angry at her, of course, not just for the affair, but also because she put her kids in danger without realizing it. So Jason tells her it's over between them. Zoe feels like there's no point in living anymore, so she throws herself on the road. Jason is furious for what she did. We also get to see that Zoe's assistant is putting everything from the company on boxes, implying that the business went bankrupt. However, Zoe did survive, and now she talks about her experience to other people that are going through a similar situation. Jason comes inside and they hug each other and decide to give a shot at their relationship.